Ladies and gentlemen.
They want war. Crime babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day and every clue. Don't let it go, it's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 rows to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a debt's owed? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers. Cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about control or the weather, I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in a way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, and you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.
Peace to the trolls. Peace to the trolls. Peace to the Matrix. Peace to the steak dinner. Steak dinner, y'all. Steak dinner. Oh my goodness. You know, it's really a time. I don't know if y'all seen the movie The Matrix. You know, it had plenty of sequels, and I'm sure most of y'all have seen it, right? The Matrix movie. But The Matrix is literally like what it is, living in the world with Elon Musk, the internet, you know what I'm saying? And where they just come up with these conspiracy theories where they convince people, right, to actually give their own blood, sweat, and tears to billionaires. Yes, we talking about the richest people on earth. We're not talking about average billionaires. We talking about the richest person on earth. Literally, like, just link yourself up to be bled and fed on by billionaires. You know, and that to me, that's the closest correlation I can make is today. Like, let's ask ourselves. You know, we had the internet trolls out there talking about Hillary Clinton drinking blood on Epstein Island, and we know if that was true, they would release the Epstein files, right? We know that, but the Epstein files haven't been released. We know that if Kamala Harris, right, was in the Epstein files, they would be released. but they haven't been released. We know anything, if it was anything else that they had on a prominent Democrat, they would be wanting to release it. It would be released right now. They would have leaked it already. But yet they're simply not doing that. Now, why could that be? It's because the Matrix convinced them of this shit. It wasn't actually real. Hillary Clinton didn't drink baby blood on Epstein Island. It wasn't her. However, through House Democrats fighting patiently, having to wait and meander and go through all kinds of legal hurdles presented by the DOJ, presented by the FBI, presented by the Trump administration, after flip-flopping, because it's them who said they would release it on day one if you give me my vote. If you vote for me, Trump said, you know, even Kash Patel was like, I'm voting for Trump because he's going to release the Epstein files on day one. Guess who has it? The head of the FBI. Guess who's the head of the FBI now? Kash Patel. See, so these people fell for the Matrix. And Kash Patel is out there. He know damn well it was a lie, but he's out there because he was offered a steak dinner. Pam Bondi was offered the steak dinner. They were. And they took the steak dinner. They knew it was lies. Pam Bondi was down with who? Alacosta back in Florida when Epstein got off in the first place. It just is what it is. So she knew pretty much. She knows a lot more than she's playing along with. But that steak dinner got to be tasting pretty good right now, right? And who's paying for the steak dinner? The taxpayer. It's on the taxpayer. So she has a welfare steak dinner in her mouth every night. Kash Patel has a welfare steak dinner in his mouth every night. He has a socialized steak dinner. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Donald Trump, they're eating government-sponsored food right now. That's what they're eating, you see. And they wouldn't have that steak dinner if it wasn't for you. So applaud MAGA, everybody. Let's give MAGA an applause for them getting their government steak dinner. Trump, you know, Elon Musk and the rest of them. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. Yay, you got the steak dinner. And let's also applaud the trolls because, hey, the Matrix is like that. It tricks people into that, you know. But it wouldn't have happened if you didn't have people that already knew it was a lie who just wanted the steak dinner. That's how it works all the time. So, hey, y'all, where's the files? Where's the video of Hillary Clinton drinking blood on Epstein Island? Where does it exist? Where's the pictures of Obama on Epstein Island? Hey, y'all, where's that picture? Matrix, where's it at? MACA folk, where's it at? Where's it at? Trolls, where's that picture? Where's that information about Kamala Harris on Epstein Island? Even having one meeting, even being in this appointment book. Is there one other person? Just one. How many people in Trump's administration have already been meeting with Epstein or plan to meet with Epstein after he was already charged in Florida? How many people in his cabinet? How many people knew about Epstein and knew that Trump was one of the people? I mean, you may as well call the Trump administration the Epstein Island administration. You may as well call it because, hell, they can't seem to find Biden there. They can't seem to find Biden there. I mean, you know, if somebody had to be there, it's all the people that seem to hate Biden, hate Kamala Harris, hate Obama. All the people that hated Obama, hated Kash Patel. I mean, hated Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, hated Biden and hated Obama. All those people were in the island. We're there. It's crazy. It is literally crazy, you know. And that is what it is, you know. That is what it is. Now, here's the thing. There are some black people that voted for that. They voted for Trump, as you see. Trump always brags about it. He said he got more black people. So there's some black people that fell for that Matrix thing, and they are not getting that steak dinner right now. They're not getting that government-sponsored steak dinner. No, it's not them that's getting it. You see what I mean? And so here you have it. Is it an issue of black or white or Asian? No, you have Kash Patel. What's his background? Is that an issue of it? No, no. Nobody's saying, hey, what's up with that, Cash Patel? Is it an issue? I mean, is it an issue of the Irish? Is it an issue of the English? Is it an issue of the, no, this guy, Trump, got a lot of people. He got a lot of folks from different backgrounds who actually signed on to supporting him. You see, so this is not, the steak dinner is not a racial thing. The steak dinner is not a gender thing. You got Pam Bondi, right? The steak dinner, and you also have who's the secretary? The White House secretary who comes out there, Caroline Levitt. No, you got black folks, you got Asian folks, you got white folks, blonde hair, dark hair. You got Elon Musk. He's from South Africa. You got a whole slew of people that are down with the government-sponsored steak dinner that they're eating right now. Now, the problem with that, the only problem I have with that, right, because I don't really care what their background is, because classism is real, right? Elitism is real. I mean, if you asked MAGA that a year ago, they would be like, yeah, the elite pedophiles. Well, elite pedophiles is real, but not if you ask MAGA anymore. They've abandoned that. You know what I'm saying? MAGA abandoned all that shit. They were like, no, we don't want the Epstein files no more. No, we don't care about elite pedophiles, Kabbalah anymore. No, 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 no. They locked it all up, right? And it's really wild, but it's up for them to explain that. It's not really up to me. But the problem is that now that they're in power, it doesn't seem like they can do better. It doesn't seem like they even know better. In fact, guess what's happened now? Now that they've had power for like 7 months, right? They're actually proving that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden had more power than them to help the American people. They're actually doing that because right now they have something that Biden didn't have. Biden didn't have 6 Democrats on the Supreme Court. Biden didn't have the majority of all branches of government. He didn't have Congress and the Senate all on board at one time. Biden didn't have that. Trump has it. Trump is a very special president. And with all that power, they are now conceding publicly that they just can't get the American people what they actually asked for. But I will give them this. They can split people along racial divides. They can split people along class divides, right? They can do that. They can send the National Guard out to states. They can go out and rip babies from mothers, arms, working on farms, right? But all of this is going to come back to basically decimate these MAGA communities. Now, and thanks, like I said before, I'm glad that the trolls are here because you get to witness this and answer this, Now, we know for a fact that they're going to continue this line, that no matter what, they're going to root out the evildoers, the evil liberals. Basically what MAGA has become is deranged. They all have liberal derangement syndrome. They're looking for women that need abortions for health purposes. They're looking for illegal immigrants working on farms so they can rip babies from their mothers, right? They're looking for stuff like this. They're not actually that effective in catching who? Political shooters, violence. They're not effective at doing that. They're not talking about that. They hate that. And yet, what has happened again is another shooter has exposed themselves, right? Another shooter. And guess what? Is it a lefty? The last one wasn't a lefty. Is this one a lefty? You see, I mean, everywhere it's just showing that they're in complete, utter incompetence across the board. But in any case, Fox State Media, right, which is really Matrix Media. Matrix Media is Fox Media. This is the steak dinner media. This is the socialized steak dinner, right? American taxpayer steak dinner sponsored programming, right? This is the programming thing that says, hey, y'all, you should get that dinner. You should get that state sponsored steak dinner to Cash Patel. You should get that to him, right? You should get that to Pam Bondi. They should eat off of the tax. The taxpayers should pay their salary, pay for their livelihood, right? Because we know they couldn't get a job anywhere else anymore. So let's listen.
The good news is that this has already been investigated.
Yes, Comey. The big deal is that they are going to take Comey to jail, to court. They indicted Comey. They indicted your man Comey. This is crazy. They indicted the head, the head prosecutor, Comey, and they don't even know what to do. I mean, they don't even know what to do at this point now that they've done it. It's crazy. They got Comey up on charges. And it is ridiculous because only one person showed up from the DOJ, the newly appointed prosecutor. They had to find a new prosecutor to do it. Look, the deputy wouldn't do it. The deputy of the DOJ didn't want to put his name on the Comey shit. The head of the DOJ, Bondi, didn't want to put her name on the indictment at all because they know that it's not going to go through because what? It has already been adjudicated one time. Look,
is that this has already been investigated and Comey has already been vindicated. So there was a special counsel, as there's supposed to be. And when you say they, what the Democrats did that was appropriate is there was a special counsel named Jack Smith, and he's the one that brought the charges. Because you can't have a president getting on social media or straight to your face and saying,
why can't you? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Trump had to beat the case.
You're going to lose in court.
And
that's what
Trump
happened.
Won the election. So when you guys start winning elections,
that he didn't do all the
you
bad
guys
stuff.
can start calling the shots.
He has appointed enough members of the Supreme Court to get away with everything. And
yo, listen.
It's not the only
Fox state-sponsored media. They have this person on there explaining to them it's already been adjudicated once. And the information has been out in the public. The man has testified. There's already testimony. Comey has already testified. And what did Comey say? Comey said he was not aware. He was not asked. He has nothing to do with the leaks. He only became aware after. That's what Comey said. It's already been adjudicated. Adjudicated means they've already gotten a deposition from him. It's already gone through the legal process to find out if there was wrongdoing by him specifically. And he answered the same questions they're about to answer again, which is why Todd from the DOJ, the deputy of the DOJ, and Pam Bondi didn't want to put their own signature on the indictment.
That's lied to Congress. Dr. Fauci's lied to the House Oversight Committee. Hunter Biden lied to the House Oversight Committee. Jim Biden lied to the House Oversight.
Look at this. Now he's going down a litany of names of all these people that lied. Well, if you're going to charge someone, why don't you charge your strongest case? And this shows you if this is their strongest case against Comey, this shows you this is part of the Matrix. This is just the internet. They're selling only MAGA people because no one else believes them around the world, except in Russia and China and North Korea, right? Everyone else, in all allied countries, they already understand that this is food for people who are politically illiterate, essentially. Only food. It's only a show. It's not going to end in anything because to adjudicate it means you have to have hundreds of people going along with it through the court processes. You need judges, you need jury, right? So if it's already adjudicated, what are you gonna do? Nothing. And Comey is gladly going to court over this. This is crazy. But here we go. Let's listen to more.
There are criminal referrals there as well. And I think
exactly. Release the Epstein files, co-sider. Exactly. Thank you.
that Comey is the first step in what many people in America that believe in the Constitution and want to see.
You hear him say it. This is Fox News now, y'all. Comey is the first step. So why would you bring your weakest case? Why would you bring your weakest case as a first step? That makes no sense. No one does that.
See, justice, I believe, is the first step with Comey, and I think there are going to be many more. Finally, we're going to see accountability. And, you know, God bless Donald Trump and his administration, Tulsi and John Ratcliffe and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel for exposing the corruption in the deep state agencies. And Jim Jordan's right. Comey was the first person that started this all. And I think now we're going to see the...
Basically, these folks have not been able to deliver anything to the American people. Food prices are going up. Cost of living is going up across the board. Cost of healthcare is going up. Cost of energy is going up, right? Everything across the board is going up. They, with the power of all houses, even the Republicans, don't even want to pass a bill to make the cost of living cheaper for the American people. This is crazy. And this is all they can do is have a show. It's nothing but a show. It's nothing but a show. And they got this show while they're eating their dinner. It's paid for by the taxpayer. Pam Bondi, right? She's getting government steak dinner right now. This is socialized dinner for Pam Bondi. This is socialized dinner for Kash Patel. That steak dinner he got to be a part of the Matrix scam, to get the MAGA people to stick their arm out and get a blood sucker directly attached to them, which it is. The life is about to be sucked out of red state voters first and foremost before any other voters in the country. Yes, their blood, sweat, and tears will be wasted first. Now, I'm not saying others won't be. Of course, others will be affected. But the people who rely on federal subsidies the most are red state voters. They will suffer the most.
The phase of accountability, and that's what we've all been working so hard in these congressional investigations.
It's justice. Here's the issue. Here's the thing you got to remember about mutually assured destruction. It doesn't work when you go first.
Now, keep in mind, the guy talking right here, he's the man who just suggested 2 or 3 weeks ago that how you deal with homeless people is euthanizing them. That is the man. He's the man that suggested you euthanize homeless people on Fox News. Did he care about if those homeless people were people that fought in wars and became homeless? Fought in Afghanistan, fought in Iraq, fought in any other war, were members of the service? No, he didn't. He didn't care if they were. Did he care if they have family members who fought in wars, like a parent, a father, a mother? No, he did not. Did he care if they had ancestors that fought in the Civil War and the War of Independence? No, he did not. Did he care if they served their country in any capacity or were related to any people that served this country in any capacity? No, he did not. He did not. This is the man talking right now. Just so you're clear.
That's what just happened. When you come for us, you kind of got to finish the job, because now we're in power and it's payback. Revenge, I don't care what you call it. I don't care what the media calls it. They have lost the privilege of our attention. They said collusion was real and the laptop was fake. Facts about COVID were disinformation. Joe Biden was president. The biggest scandal of our career, and they still haven't paid for that. So you know what? We don't care.
First of all, I completely agree with you on the economy. It's on fire. I was just in Europe. I mean, they would die. There's not a country in the world that wouldn't die for our economy. 3.8% GDP.
Exactly, David Mitchell. He wants someone else to do it for him, because these people, they don't give a damn about the American people. They give a damn about their steak dinner. That's all they care about. They don't care if it's a red state voter. They don't care if it's a blue. They don't care. It's all a big show for them. It's all just to feed the politically illiterate people out there. Watch. Now, 2 seconds here. Let me just go back here in my files real quick. Let's just go back a little bit. Let me see here. Is it this? Hold on now. Is it this one? Let me just go back a little bit, because I want to make sure I got this right. Is this right? 2 seconds. Came together. Right, because this news moves so fast across these networks. It's actually very appalling how fast this craziness comes from the Trump administration. But let me just see if I have this one right here. I'm going to pull this up. Is it this guy? Is it this dude right here?
To mental health.
Okay, 2 seconds. Now, check this out. If this is the other guy, my fault. That's true. Well, let's listen to it. It's the same media outlet. And listen, I confess, this is a different guy. They talk so much shit on Fox News, but Fox News, this is the same network. So let's listen.
And the homeless population, a lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why?
They have
involuntary lethal injection, just kill him. Now, this was a different guy. So, hey, I admit when I'm wrong. Guess what? We have a president right now that doesn't admit when they're wrong. Guess what else? We have an entire administration that doesn't admit when they're wrong, actually. What they actually do is continue to lie. Now, let's continue here. So we have it straight.
It's the only person, Sean, that's lying.
Now, this is the same network. This is the same network. This is
justice. Here's the issue.
This is White House.
First of all, I completely agree with you on the economy. It's on fire. I was just in Europe.
Is the economy on fire? Let's listen to state regime news now. Is the economy on fire? If the economy is on fire, put a 1 in the chat. If the economy is not on fire, put a 2 in the chat, just to make it very clear. Also, you could also add what state you're from when you answer the question. So, is the economy on fire, and what state are you from? If it's on fire, put a 1 in the chat. If it's not on fire, put a 2 in the chat. I already know it's not on fire. Goddamn, there's no who's reporting it's on fire in data. There's no data that supports that. So listen, over here, we're not doing state-sponsored media. So we do make mistakes that we admit to sometimes. So my bad. It was the same network that said euthanize homeless people. It wasn't the same guy, but it's the same network pushing the same bullshit. So let me see. 2, California, 1, Canada. Okay. Damn, that's deep. You think the economy's on fire? Okay. Well, in opposed to what? Last year, it wasn't on fire. It's not more on fire than it was last year. It's actually shrunk. Okay. So, yeah, let's see here. And again, I believe this is an issue that when you're dealing with voters need to address these problems as voters and citizens. If you keep trying to put in thinking that this is something that doesn't cross over to all citizens, and thinking that your politics should be so partisan that it's only about who's a Democrat or only about who's a Republican, I think that's crazy, because Bill Clinton was on those in the Epstein files. And myself, although I'm a Democrat, I don't vote party line. That's just how I'm registered. And any American knows you can register in any party. You can still vote for anyone cross party lines, So that's how the electoral system works in the U.S. Now, I myself don't agree with all Democrats all the time. It's very simple. Have I always voted for Democrats? No. I haven't always voted for a Democrat. The second election that Barack Obama had, I did not vote for Barack Obama. In fact, I passed because I was a little pissed that he didn't do more. But now, in my naivety, I understand that when you have the majority of the Supreme Court, they are the ones that control all policy at the end of the day. It's the Supreme Court. So Biden, if you want to blame the Supreme Court for knocking down the bill for student debt, if you want to blame Biden for that, look at the 6 judges who did it on the Supreme Court. It's them who did it. Biden went to Congress and it was passed by Republicans and Democrats. That was bipartisan. The Supreme Court shot it down. So this is how politics works in the U.S. So I'm just using that as an example. Now let's continue.
I mean, they would die. There's not a country in the world that wouldn't die for our economy. 3.8% GDP, $17 trillion of inbound foreign direct investment. It's an incredible economy. It's getting better.
So is it 19 trillion foreign investment coming to the United States? Of course, that would be 80% of the U.S.'s GDP that they had last year before Trump came in office. So is that true, or is that a lie on Fox News? You tell me.
And this is going to be great. And consumer confidence among small businesses at an all-time high. So there's lots of good.
Housing is too expensive. Groceries are too expensive. Now, I would say they're too expensive because we inherited a disastrous Biden economy and we're making progress.
So is he correct? Are prices too expensive right now? Are groceries too expensive right now because of Biden and Harris? Or does Trump have more power to change that right now? Do the Republicans in the House and in the Senate have more power to change that right now? Do the Republicans on the Supreme Court have the power to change that right now for the American people? You tell me. You tell me. Who's to blame right now, 7 months in to the Trump administration? Who is to blame? Is it Biden and Harris? Put a 1 in the chat if it's Biden and Harris who are to blame today for prices. Put a 2 in the chat if it's somebody else. You don't have to name who it is, but just if it's not Biden and Harris to blame, then put a 2 in the chat. If it's Biden and Harris to blame for prices right now, put a 1 in the chat. I just want to see how this goes. Because that would mean Biden and Harris have more power than Trump and the GOP. I'm just sitting there watching, looking at this. I mean, they have more power so Biden and Harris have more power than the GOP right now. Biden and Harris have more power. So right now, if Biden and Harris have more power than the GOP right now, put a 1 in the chat. If they do not, put a 2 in the chat. And please tell me what state you're from. If you're from a U.S. state, this is ridiculous. This is hilarious. This is how you know how many trolls are in the chat. Either you're politically illiterate or this is like state-farmed Elon Musk trolling. Trump, Russian, China trolling. I mean, seriously. You know what I'm saying? Yo, please go check these people's profiles that put a 1 in the chat, because this is just beyond belief. How is it that Biden and Harris can have more power right now when the House is ruled by the GOP, Republicans? The Senate has the majority GOP. The president is from the GOP, and the damn Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, is majority GOP. How's that possible? How is that possible? How is that possible? Anyway, let's listen to some more state-sponsored news.
It's only been 8 months, but we've made a lot of progress.
Now, keep in mind, J.D. Vance, he did basically call rural voters, right, Appalachian Mountain voters, where he's from, Center America voters, stupid in his actual book. He said these people have too much pride, ignorant pride that works against them. That's what he said in his book. Now, this is back when he was saying Trump was a Nazi, right? He doesn't say these things anymore, but I don't think those people listen to his ass enough, because they do have a whole lot of pride, stupid, ignorant pride. Because if you think Biden and Harris have more power than the GOP right now to bring prices down, you are the most ignorant people on earth. But let's go right ahead.
But unless we give young people a stake in the future, we can't dismiss their concerns as socialism. They're going to choose socialism if given an...
Now, you see, he's saying socialism. They're going to choose socialism, right? This dude is eating government-sponsored steak dinners. Trump is eating government-sponsored steak dinners. Pam Bondi is eating government-sponsored steak dinners. Kash Patel is eating government-sponsored steak dinners. Who's paying for it? All Americans. If you are an American citizen, because this is who I'm talking to. Others can listen right now, but this is the question I want to know only from American citizens. Who pays their bills? If the taxpayer pays their bills, put a 1 in the chat. If the taxpayers do not pay Trump's bills, do not pay Pam Bondi's bills, do not pay Kash Patel's bills, do not pay their bills, put a 2 in the chat. If they do not, if they do pay their bills, put a 1 in the chat. I'm going to put a 1 in the chat because that means the taxpayers pay their bills. I'm just curious. Let's see who puts a 2. Let's see who says, nah, they don't pay their fucking bills. Let's go see. Let's see. Anybody? Let's see. Not sure. Not sure. So I can see people don't even. Oh, my God. The Supreme Court has rule over anything that they say is against the Constitution, whether it is or not. It gets knocked down. It doesn't matter if Congress passes it or not. It doesn't matter if it's about groceries. It doesn't matter if it's about student debt. It doesn't matter, my friend. You need to keep that in mind. That's why it's called the Supreme Court. OK. OK, Big Bear says that the taxpayers don't pay Jim Vance's bills. The taxpayers don't pay Donald Trump's bills. OK, Big Bear says the taxpayers don't pay Pam Bondi's bills. He says the taxpayers don't pay Kash Patel's bills. OK, that's very fucking interesting. OK, I would hope that we could all agree at least on the very simple point that the taxpayers of the United States of America pay all government employees' bills. You would think that. The same people that pay bills for welfare are the same people that pay bills for government employees. They get paid by the same people. We have the right to complain about all of them because some of them are getting steak dinners. Welfare people ain't getting steak dinners on the taxpayer bills. Kash Patel is. Trump is getting it. Okay, now let's continue. J.D. Vance, he concedes the bills are too much. Well, this is what he said on day one. This is when they started talking about the tariffs. They keep repeating the same shit. No, duh. Sherlock, we know the bills are too high.
Option between free stuff and a bad life because we inherited a disastrous Biden economy and we're making progress. It's only been 8 months, but we've made a lot of progress. But unless we give young...
Have they made a lot of progress in the bills, in the prices? Is J.D. Vance telling a truth or false? Put a true or a false in the chat. Is J.D. Vance correct when he says we've made a lot of progress about the price of goods in the United States? Just curious. Because I live outside of the United States, so I don't fucking know. I'm an American citizen who lives outside the U.S., so I can't say I can't qualify that myself by my own experience inside of the country. You all have to do that yourselves. Do I report my taxes to the United States government? Of course I do. However, I don't pay taxes to the United States government. They only have the right to know. I pay taxes to the Danish government, who believes in universal health care, universal education. That means no matter how good, wealthy, or poor your parents are, the children choose their destiny themselves. Exactly, Flig. If you call prices increasing progress, exactly. Well, exactly. What the hell? I'm like, what's going on? But again, you got to understand, if American citizens believe that progress has been made, then you're going to get more progress like this. And it's your choice. You have the right to vote for it. I'm for anybody voting, even a MAGA person. If you want to vote for Trump and J.D. Vance again, I say go for it. But I don't live in the U.S., so you're not affecting my pockets. You know what I'm saying? You're not affecting my kids' lives, you know? So I say, hey, if you want to be decimated, vote for the decimation. Why not? I also support gun rights, and I'm saying that blue state voters should get slowly, calmly, but in a comprehensive manner, more acquainted to their gun rights, just in a calm fashion. That's all. I also believe in that, you know, in a calm, orderly fashion. Blue states should do that. Blue state, citizens should exercise their right to bear arms. But I'm not saying you should go out and, obviously blue state people don't have the same ideologies and beliefs across the board. So they would do something different with those weapons, obviously. But let's see here.
People a stake in the future. We can't dismiss their concerns as socialism. They're going to choose socialism if given an option between free stuff and a bad life. We have to make sure they have an option between free stuff and a real life of dignity, of purpose. That's what the American conservative.
So let me ask you a question. If you're on the street, if you had the right to what J.D. Vance says, free stuff, although it's your money, there's nothing free. There's nothing free about it. Do you agree with J.D. Vance that this is free stuff? Or is it the taxpayer dollars? See, if in my world, if I pay taxes, it's not free fucking stuff. It's my tax dollars being used towards the shit I want my tax dollars to be used for, towards the shit that I think is useful for in my fucking life, since I'm a law-abiding citizen and I pay fucking taxes. But J.D. Vance says that it's free. Is it free? Are your tax dollars, is that not your money? Is that free money you just got? Is J.D. Vance correct? I mean, that's a very interesting thing. So J.D. Vance gets paid. He gets free money. Who pays his salary if it's free money? J.D. Vance gets his salary paid by the same people who pay welfare, who pay the taxes that pay for the welfare. They pay the taxes that pay for the Medicare. They pay the taxes that pay for other, public schools. J.D. Vance is now calling it free. He doesn't even acknowledge that it's your money. Again, whose money are we talking about? Is it nobody's money? Is it free money? Or is it the taxpayer's money? If it's the taxpayer dollars, put taxpayer in the chat. If it's not, put free money. I'm watching. I want to know whose money it is. In my mind, I'm going to put it's the taxpayer's money. It's not free. So very simple. Just to make it very simple to understand, because some people fucking don't understand it. J.D. Vance obviously doesn't understand. It's not free money, asshole. It's our money. The same money you're getting to pay your salary, asshole, is our fucking money, J.D. Vance. Don't mix that up. Goddamn. What's up with this dude? He's just calling it free money. So, J.D. Vance, you getting socialized money? You paid for by socialism, J.D. Vance? Is the United States military paid by socialist dollars, J.D. Vance? Or is it paid for by the taxpayer dollars? Do the streets get redone? Do the potholes get filled by socialist money? Or is it paid for by taxpayer money? You see, he only calls it socialist money when the taxpayer actually wants something for it. When he wants something for it and Elon Musk wants something for it, then it's social. No, you guys want it's not socialism when we want something. When the billionaires want some of that money, it's not socialized money anymore. But when the average taxpayer, the people who pay 75% of the federal budget through payroll taxes, want some of their money being used towards shit they could use, then it's socialism suddenly. But when Elon Musk wants it, it's not socialism. Okay, alrighty.
Conservative movement can provide to them, but we've got to do a better job at articulating it, or they're going to continue to be attracted to people like Mondale.
Dude, you better not only do a better job at articulating it, you better get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Like, for real, American taxpayers pay 75% of the federal budget. American taxpayers have the right to bear arms. Just remember that.
Dami.
Next up.
All right, let's see. Who's on the next one?
All the way through the Hunter Biden laptop suppressed, all the way through weaponization. Pam, I'm nervous for the country when I put it all together.
Okay. Sean Hannity, immigrant background, comes from an immigrant family. Sean Hannity, is really scared for America. But let me tell you, Sean Hannity, you really don't have deep roots in the United States of America. You're one of the people who's an immigrant who sits up on there and talks about immigration, talks about socialism when your fucking family got help themselves when they arrived to the United States of America. So just to point that out.
You shouldn't be nervous any longer because Donald Trump is in office and the weaponization has ended. We've made that very clear. Whether you're a former FBI director, whether you're a former head of an intel community, whether you are a current state or local elected official, whether you're a billionaire funding organizations to try to keep Donald Trump out of office, everything is on the table. We will investigate you and we will end the weaponization. No longer will there be a two-tier system of justice. And we are working hand in hand, Director Patel and I, Todd Blanche, with our incredible intel community, Tulsi Gabbard, John Radcliffe, going nonstop around the clock. People will be
People will be held accountable. No, people won't be held accountable. Was Epstein held accountable? Where are the Epstein files? Will Ghislaine Maxwell be held accountable? How many of you all feel like the victims of the trafficking, sex trafficking that Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein actually organized? How many of you think the victims got justice? Put a 1 in the chat if you feel like the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking have received justice. If you do not feel like they have received justice, put a 2 in the chat. I'm going to watch. I'm just watching. I like to qualify statements by people. I like to see where people's opinions flip-flop on. So I'm just going to take a look. Let's see here. You see, I see a whole lot of statements saying everything else but 1 or 2. If you believe that the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking ring have received justice, put a 1 in the chat. If you do not, put a 2 in the chat. Look at this. You see a lot of troll activity here that don't want to just have an opinion on that. You see, now don't get me wrong. I don't believe it's everything to agree on someone. We can have disagreements. That makes nice, friendly conversation. That actually, people who disagree often can become best of friends. But when you're being fake about it and when you're a troll, you can't do that. You see, so I'm just looking to see who all of a sudden don't have an opinion about that. Who doesn't have an opinion? Again, the question is, if you believe the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking ring have received justice, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't, put a 2 in the chat. Okay, so now, who's responsible for them receiving justice? Is it Pam Bondi? Put a 1 in the chat. No, don't put a 1 in the chat. If it's Pam Bondi that's responsible for these victims getting justice, say Pam Bondi, right? Pam Bondi in the chat. Here we go. Because she's going out there. It's not going to be two-tier justice system anymore. It says Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is responsible for the Epstein victims getting justice. Boom. I'll put that in there. I'll add my little 2 cents to it. Did it not come up in the chat? What the heck? The chat is moving so fast. Okay, who's responsible for the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking getting justice? Who is responsible? Pam Bondi is. There we go. I'll write that. I hope it gets in there now without. Yeah, Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is responsible. Okay, now she says she's tired of two-tier justice. Now, would it be two-tier justice if the victims of the Epstein files, of the Epstein sex trafficking, did not get justice under her administration? Would that be two-tier justice, Pam Bondi? Would that be two-tier justice, Pam Blondie, Pam Bimbo? Would that be two-tier justice? Huh? Yeah. So her point is mute. Her point goes down in history like this. Wah, wah, wah. Failure. Yo, you are not tired of two-tier justice, Pam Blondie. Okay? You are not tired of it because you yourself are involved in a conspiracy to cover up a sex trafficking ring, likely the largest sex trafficking ring that the country has ever fucking known. Okay, so her words mean not a goddamn thing. I mean, that would be like hiring Bill Clinton to be the head of the DOJ over this shit. You see what I mean? She's the same. She's the same. You know, she's the same. It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, how could you sit there and you're actually covering up the Epstein files and you talking about you're tired of a two-tier justice system? What the fuck? What could be a better representation of a two-tier justice system than her? What could be better?
All the way through the Hunter Biden laptop suppressed, all the way through weaponization. Pam, I'm nervous for the country when I put it all together.
You shouldn't be nervous any longer because Donald Trump is in office and the weaponization has ended. We've made that very clear. Whether you're a former FBI director, whether you're a former head of an intel community, whether you are...
So, who prosecuted Ghislaine Maxwell? Comey's daughter, right? She was fired by who? Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, DOJ. They prosecute, or Kash Patel, one of them is responsible. A Trump appointee is responsible, right? So you punish and you fire the people that actually prosecute. What sense does that make? Then you don't release the files while you're saying you're tired of a two-tier justice system. But who's in the files? Elon Musk is in the files. He's a donor to Trump. Who else is in the files? Trump himself, likely more than anybody else, any other single person. That's interesting. You know, two-tier, whatever happened to the perfect opportunity to bust Democrats and Republicans by releasing the Epstein files? Whatever happened to Hillary Clinton drinking blood, baby blood on Epstein Island? Don't you want to go after her? Isn't that part of getting rid of the two-tier justice system? Going after some baby blood drinkers on Epstein Island? Of course it would be, because that's what they were out here saying. Now, all of a sudden, it's not that. I mean, she's basically getting government subsidized money. The taxpayers are paying for her steak dinner right now. They're paying for Kash Patel's steak dinner right now. Literally. They're paying for J.D. Vance's steak dinner right now, while J.D. Vance calls the people's tax dollars free money. Since when is it fucking free to work 12 hours a fucking day to pay fucking federal payroll taxes to have a bitch ass motherfucker like J.D. Vance call that money free? No, bitch, it's not fucking free. People slave to pay you this fucking money. These people are fucking insulting. Excuse me, but it's just insulting. It's insulting. Anyway, I get paid to do this, so I'm going to come out here and say it like I see it. So, anyway, dumbass Hegseth, on to other news. Dumbass Hegseth has called the military to meet. All the leaders of the military are supposed to meet drunk ass Pete Kegbreath, right? Just because his ass has a really pathetic career. I mean, yo, don't get me wrong. I support the National Guard, but my friend's been in the real motherfucking military. Okay? Okay? Goddamn. What the fuck? My father was in the real fucking military. Okay? Not the one who goes out and sweeps up fucking trash in Washington, D.C. Okay? The real one. Okay? God damn. And this is Kegbreath, though. You know, the National Guard guy. Kegbreath, he wants to call in the leaders, all the generals, leaders of all the military to come meet him. Like, who the fuck are you, Pete Kegbreath? Who the fuck are you? You're a guy that they literally have videos of being drunken off your fucking ass all over goddamn media. And this guy is the one who calls him? That's the best you got? Okay. He takes that job real serious, I bet. July 1935, German generals were called to a surprise assembly in Berlin. By the way, this is Ben Hodges, so in case you don't know, go to Twitter, you will see. In Berlin, and informed that their previous oath to the Weimar Constitution was void and that they would be required to swear a personal oath to the Fuhrer. Now, we watched Donald Trump, you know, and people go through this shit 100 times, you know. Do you swear? Do you? All the, maybe not verbatim, but this is the idea behind Trump, that Trump is more valuable than the Constitution, and that somehow that's how it's always been. And, you know, the presidency has always had more power or than any other branch of government, which is bullshit. If you follow the U.S. history and you follow the emergence of the United States of America from the beginning to today, you will know that the Congress has always had more fucking power. You see what I mean? That's the whole point of it. The president is supposed to initiate the choices of the Congress, essentially. And those congressional laws are supposed to be constitutional, which, you know, and then the president is supposed to initiate them. That's basically what it is. He's the administrator. He's the executive administrator to affect those laws, to put these laws, to make sure that they are being put in effect. Now, he's calling the military up. Now, why? I don't give a fuck why. Because look at who's doing it. You may as well have Kermit the Frog calling these generals in. It wouldn't make a difference. It's for no fucking purpose. It has no real purpose other than to endanger people, other than to make people have one more extra job instead of the hard job that they already have. And keep in mind, they're paid for by the taxpayers too, right? Every military person gets their check from the American taxpayer, no matter if they're Democrat or Republican or independent or not. Even if they don't vote, if they pay taxes, this is who pays each and every single service member's salary. This is who pays it. And Pete Kegbreath has decided that instead of them doing the already dangerous and hard, laborious job that they already do day to day, protecting the country, that they need one more job, and that is to come listen to a fucking drunk. I mean, it's really, really embarrassing, but this is the best that the United States has to offer right now, and it's just falling off of the, heels, one by one. But again, I would tell people, no matter who you are, right, no matter what party you're a part of, either you're Democrat or you're independent or whatever, exercise your constitutional rights. Freedom of speech, right to bear arms. If you've never looked into both of those, because there's a lot of people in the United States that don't fucking vote. They take their vote for granted and just don't fucking vote. That's stupid as hell. You people should vote. Just like you want your right to bear arms, you need to fucking understand that your right to your vote is very serious. But people that do vote, you need to start considering the fact that your right to bear arms also is very serious. And in a calm, normal, easy fashion, legal fashion, go down, get your license and your permit shit in order, and start looking at what type of guns you want to have to protect your home, because this government seems intent on being extremely mediocre, which could affect your life in ways that you have not seen in quite a long fucking time. I'm just saying that. Me myself, I'm an American citizen. I live outside of the United States of America. People don't even have guns here. I'm in Denmark. Nobody's thinking about a goddamn gun here. Okay? People are thinking about things working normally and functionally. You know, people want to leave their house and feel safe, you know, but that's not the United States of America. Guns get proliferated. The people who buy them legally sell them to people who don't have the right to possess them. That's how criminals get weapons in the United States of America. They buy them from people that have the right. So since nothing's going to be done about that, nothing's ever been done about that issue, right? No one, the GOP was not concerned about the proliferation of weapons before. No, I would say anybody who never really considered that as an option might need to take that up right now, because as you know, a mob attacked the Capitol on January 6th, right? And the local police failed to stop that mob. The National Guard failed to stop that mob. The federal government failed to stop that mob. The United States military failed to stop that mob. They all failed, capital F. And and it's just very simple. That means your life could have easily been harmed and taken away because of that failure. And they are no closer today than they've ever been in resolving any of those issues. They are no closer, period. You know, in fact, this government right now seems to be one that is okay with violence if it is right-wing associated, just like the same time when the Capitol was attacked, just like the same type of situation. But in any case, oh, hold on, I pulled up the wrong file here. Let's see here. That was Elon Musk. What the heck? Is this the right one? Right. Elon Musk is pissed. Right. Elon Musk is pissed. He's pissed that his name was mentioned in the Epstein files. Now, my thoughts are this. I want to know what people think about Elon Musk. Do you think it's fair that Elon Musk's name was mentioned, although it is in the Epstein files? Do you think it was fair that it was revealed in the manner that it was? If you think it was unfair, put a 1 in the chat. If you think it was fair, or it doesn't matter, put a 2 in the chat. I'm curious. This is so funny, you know? I mean, this is why I ask these questions, because you will see a lot of flip-flop in here. You know, it's crazy. You know, it's so funny because when you ask a series of questions, you can kind of see, you can go back and see all the comments later. And that's what I do. I go back. I don't know if you noticed, but the live chat is on replay. Anybody can do this. For the listeners, you can go back after the live is finished to any live that I've done, and you can look at the series of questions and look at the series of answers and examine who has flip-flopped. For example, who for some reason always, you know, is pro, you know, one issue. And then all of a sudden, when someone else that is associated with that, you know, point of view is now pointed out in the Epstein files, then they would be like, no, I don't think it was fair. You know, so just pay attention to that. You can look for these inconsistencies in the replay. And that's why I leave the replay on, so people can go back and look themselves. You know, you don't have to rely on what I think. In fact, what I think is only what I think. Period. You know, it's just what I think. I mean, again, I don't live in the United States of America. I'm an American citizen, My family on both sides of my family come from the colonial period of the United States of America. But as an adult, I don't live in the United States of America. My taxes go to the Danish government, and the commune that I live in, which is Copenhagen. And in this state, in this country, we have universal health care and we have universal education. That means that my kids, their future and whatever education they want to take has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with how much money they make, has nothing to do with any of that. It's only up to their own initiative, period. For better or for worse. If they take no initiative, it's their fault. If they do take the initiative, hey, that's great. Same thing with the healthcare system, universal healthcare. So that's what my taxes pay for as an American citizen living in Denmark. And I agree with that idea. I do think Americans are very stubborn and hard-headed about this topic. It's a basic topic. They're happy with Hexeth eating steak dinners on their dollar. But, if you, for example, say, hey, why doesn't everybody eat a steak dinner? They would be like, no. Everybody shouldn't have a steak dinner. That's how it works in the USA. People have different ideas, so. And I'm cool with it because that's not my reality. I get what I want. You know what I'm saying? I live in a country that I actually agree with a lot of these things. So that's why I live here with my kids. And I'm happy that my tax dollars not only go to support myself, my children, but others. I'm fine with that. To me, that makes sense because I'd rather have it go to support others in certain ways than to have everybody living in a fucking jail and me paying for that with my tax dollars. But hey, that's just my opinion. All right, so here, let me move on. I mean, folks, do you think Elon Musk should be crying? Why do you think Elon Musk should be crying about this? He's getting your fucking tax dollars. He's getting more money than you will ever get out of this country than you will ever get in your fucking life. Any one of you in this chat. Why would you care? Why would you even care? Why would you even think he's being treated unfairly? God damn. If your name is in them Epstein files, of course it should be mentioned. Of course it should be fucking mentioned. Of course it should be public information. Who owns the Epstein files? That's a better question. If the United States taxpayers pay and own the Epstein files, put a 1 in the chat if those files are owned by the American citizens. If the Epstein files are American citizens' property, put a 1 in the chat. If the Epstein files are owned by the American citizen, put a 1 in the chat. I'm just curious here. I mean, hey, in my mind, they're fucking owned by the American citizen. What the fuck? But let's see who doesn't think. If the Epstein files are owned by the American citizen, put a 1 in the chat. And then, see, the people that put a 2, I want you guys to go and examine. Just take a look at their profiles. That's all. And take a look later when the live is over and you can restream the live chat. Take a look at their comments, other comments, and see if they match up, so you can develop a profile over this, Yeah, because I don't see how you get it any goddamn other way. You use the taxpayer dollars to go collect that fucking information and store it in a taxpayer-funded facility owned by the taxpayer. Who the fuck else could own these files at this point? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. You're not going to get these files if you're not clear about who fucking owns them. Okay, that's why I'm asking the question. Who owns the Epstein files? Is it the American citizen? If it's the American citizens, put a 1 in the chat. If it is not, put a 2 in the chat. You got to first say we own them before you demand them. I mean, if you don't even believe you own them, then what the hell? That kind of compromises any demand. You can see there's a lot of people that don't have even a 1 or a 2. This is interesting. I'm not saying you shouldn't say whatever else you want to say, but at least give me a 1 or a 2. That's all I ask, because I'm doing my anthropology here. So, I want real critical data, that I can examine and use later. Okay. Here we go. All right. Now, some of y'all be cursing at each other, man. Come on. Calm it down, But in any case, please. But listen, now let's go to the next topic. Okay. So Elon Musk is a crybaby. Yes. Here we go. Yeah. Let's just examine what the news has said about this. Business Insider. Newly released Epstein documents include a mention of Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Peter Thiel, Steve Bannon. Now, let's be correct. As far as the Matrix is concerned, that's the internet. The internet has presented this situation as a dim, like Bill Gates would be a dim, Clinton would be a dim, right? I don't know who Bill Gates votes for. I don't know his political views myself, by the way. I don't often see a lot written about it either. Elon Musk would be a Republican. Peter Thiel would be a Republican. Steve Bannon would be a Republican, right? So because they supported Trump in this way and generalizing in a general way, I could understand that, right? Now, who has a problem with any of these people being mentioned? If you have a problem with any of these people being mentioned, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't, put a 2 in the chat. I just want to, before I go on, I want to see here. Again, if you got a problem, put a 1 in the chat with any of these people's names being mentioned. If you don't, put a 2 in the chat. I don't have. Again, why the fuck would I? I'm an everyday person. These people are billionaires. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? There's more of us everyday people than there are of them just by basic math. Come on. Is there anybody that's a billionaire in the chat? I'm just curious about that. All right. So enough. Now, these people have been mentioned. Steve Bannon, I believe that was 2017. I think just before Epstein went to jail. I believe this meeting might have been in France, or it may have been, he may have tried to set this meeting up in several places. But the point is, he knew damn well all the shit related to Epstein. These people know a lot more than you think. They knew. And yet the man still wanted to get an interview. And as said publicly by Bannon, he alleged that he wanted to get an interview to try to, show whatever points weren't mentioned, whatever things are left out about this guy, I don't know why he would give that interview or want to give the interview, but Epstein would obviously want to take the interview to clear his name, right? To try to make it seem. And so Steve Bannon was willing to do that, apparently, or at least take part in an interview with him, right? Now, Peter Thiel, he has 3 citizenships. Peter Thiel is not just an American citizen. He's a citizen of 3 different countries, right? Yeah, that's very weird. Elon Musk is a citizen of 3 different countries. He's not just an American citizen. So for me, that's a question of loyalty right there. These are MAGA people. My thoughts are, goddamn, what's wrong with you MAGA people? Like, you really think you can have a nationalistic approach when these people you're relying on aren't even goddamn really, they're not even loyal to you. What the fuck? They're not even, how can you be loyal to? I don't get this. I'm sorry. I don't get this at all, but this is MAGA for you. This is MAGA. They have an interesting group of folks. All these people have been mentioned, however, in the Epstein files. Now, let's read on. Let's see here. Okay, it says, Democrats on Friday published the excerpts of what appears to be Jeffrey Epstein's daily schedules. I'm not too sure if this is Democrats, because I believe there's 1 or 2 Republicans on that committee. But in any case, mostly Dems, I guess. But in any case, that don't matter. I'm just pointing that out. If I'm wrong, let me know. They mentioned scheduled meetings with Bill Gates, Peter Thiel, and Steve Bannon. The documents don't include any accusations of wrongdoing. Notice that. Notice this. They don't, who else was saying this the whole goddamn time? Like that's a good fucking thing. Like that somehow is great to say. Hey, notice that this doesn't mean I did anything wrong. Yeah, we fucking know it doesn't mean that, but it also doesn't mean that you didn't do anything wrong. Hello? It doesn't mean you didn't do anything wrong, okay? Now, but what it does mean for most of these people, especially Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Steve Bannon, is it means that they very much knew how ugly the accusations were and still chose to associate with such a human being. I point that out because we have yet to see Kamala Harris, Obama, Biden. Now, obviously, Epstein would have loved to meet with any of those people, right? Wouldn't he have? But what made them not want to meet Epstein? What made them not want to schedule meetings with Epstein? Why is it that these people don't fucking schedule meetings with Epstein and these fucking people do? Why is that? Why do you think that is? You tell me. Why do you think Obama isn't even on a scheduling meet to meet Epstein? Why do you think Biden isn't even in a scheduling, let alone not meet? Because keep in mind, this is what these folks are saying that were on his schedule. This is what they're saying. Just me scheduling to have a meeting with him doesn't mean I did anything wrong. Okay, but why wasn't Kamala wanting to meet him? Why didn't Kamala want to meet Epstein? Why didn't Obama want to meet Epstein? Why didn't Biden want to meet Epstein? Why do you think that is? I'm curious about that. These are some of the things that I noticed that people need to think about. Okay, so when they say, just me being on the list doesn't mean I did anything wrong. Yeah, we know that. Not being in the list also says that if you're not on the list, it even more means you didn't do anything wrong. It's so funny they make these statements and folks just buy it, but this is what the media I think has to say just to make sure they don't get their ass sued by Trump at this point. Okay. New batch of documents from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein includes mentions of Elon Musk, Bill Gates. So this is from the estate of Epstein. Peter Thiel, Steve Bannon on what appeared to be scheduling notes. Why hasn't Kash Patel, why haven't they asked for these things? That's what I'm curious. All right. Business Insider hasn't independently verified. Okay, so they haven't verified these meetings actually occurred. So we don't know if the meetings actually occurred. It's just being mentioned that there could be, that there's scheduled meetings. There were scheduled meetings or there were conversations about meetings being scheduled. Okay. Yeah. And I'm curious about who's going to deny it. Elon Musk doesn't deny it. He doesn't deny it. So that means he definitely was trying to have a meeting with, or there was talks between Epstein and somebody else. He says that it was Epstein who wanted to have the meeting. Okay. All right. Fair enough. That's Epstein who wanted to have the meeting with you. You didn't want to have the meeting, but were you in talks to have a meeting? Who gives a fuck who wanted to? Were you in talks? Because you're a billionaire. And let me tell you, folks, billionaires don't meet anybody without their private investigators investigating everything about them in advance before they accept any meeting. That's how billionaires roll. If you are a billionaire and you don't roll like that, you ain't going to be a billionaire long. Okay. On Friday, Democrats serving on the House Oversight Committee, which is subpoenaed Epstein estate, published 6 pages. Okay, so this is not federal government shit. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, they did not subpoena this. This is the Democrats who did this. This is the Democrat Oversight Committee. Okay, so there's no Republicans in that. Okay, so that's also telling. Okay, doesn't look like Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are looking to uncover any crimes. Several of those pages include emails that appear to be from one of Epstein's assistants showing draft schedules for different days. They feature scheduled haircuts, teeth cleaning, movie screen, teeth cleaning. Yo, that teeth cleaning thing, I believe I read something about it that it was about it was one of the people being trafficked. This teeth cleaning is not about Jeffrey Epstein, I believe. But movie screenings, meetings with some of the most powerful people in the world. Okay. Yeah, including, yeah. Okay, the documents don't include any accusations of wrongdoings. We know that. The schedules are, see how often they have to mention that, right? But it does tell you that, so if we dig a little bit deeper, is there more evidence could there be evidence of wrongdoing? I mean, anyone knows that a damn meeting doesn't imply anything else but that you were having a meeting. Everyone understands that, but they keep saying it over and over. So it makes me, it's almost like saying, hey, y'all should look deeper. If you ask me, that this sounds like a sideways way of saying, look deeper. There's something there, but the meeting itself doesn't mean they did anything wrong. Just in case just so you hear me say it. The documents don't include okay. The schedules are all for the dates after 2008. Exactly. This is long after this is crazy. When Epstein pleaded guilty in Florida to soliciting a minor for prostitution. Epstein later died in jail in 2019. Wow, but they're billionaires, so they didn't have no access to none of that information. None of it. They didn't know nothing about nothing. They just, okay. But look, there's people that the further away it gets to this date, more information gets out. Obviously, when he gets indicted, it's all over. But how, as a billionaire, do you have no idea? How is that possible? I'm sorry, but to me, that is bullshit. That's just bullshit. I don't get it. I don't believe it. Now let's see here. In the documents released Friday, an entry for Saturday, December 6, 2014, places Epstein at the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. Right, New Mexico. He had a spot there. There was cameras. There was visitors. There was a lot of things going on over there. New Mexico is in the Midwest. That, in my mind, I'm curious about who would have visited that. Now, there are more people that actually showed up and met at these places. They have a lot more. They have video surveillance footage. They have a lot of stuff. On the same day, it suggests Musk made. Hold on. Double check the audio. Okay, here we go. Right. So, reminder, Elon Musk to island December 6th is still happening. The note reads, okay, so this is in 2014. And they're claiming, okay, reminder, Elon Musk to island. Okay, so that's in his ledger, and he was supposed to meet. Is this still happening? That's a question. So this was regarding an initial communication with somebody who's in contact with Elon Musk, right? So let me go forward 2 seconds here. Let me just see if the audio is still good. Put a 1 in the chat if the audio is still good. So, reminder, Elon. Okay, so this is in 2000. Okay, y'all can hear me. I can see now. I just checked the audio. All right. Now, yeah, so there has been some communications. Let's go further. And again, if you don't dig deeper, you don't know if there's more to this or not. If you just accept it from what they're mentioning, which is just, yeah, there were communications about a meet. If you never investigate, so was there a meeting? You don't get to find out, was there a meeting? If you don't ask, Elon Musk has said, he said publicly, I believe, that he didn't go to the island. He wanted him to go. Okay. Did you meet him? That's a better question, because obviously this dude had plenty of places you could meet him at. He had his operation in New York City. He had his operation in Florida. He had his operation in the Virgin Islands. He had his operation in New Mexico. So if you listen to these people, just listen to what they say. Elon Musk never told people he didn't meet him. That's not the statement I read. What I read is that he said, I didn't go to the island. Like somehow the island is the center of all activity. That's not true. The show was on the road with Epstein. You see, this was a traveling circus with Epstein. So he could make it happen in any place. He could make it happen in an airplane. He could make it happen on the way somewhere. He can make it happen in New York. He can make it happen in New Mexico. He can make it happen in Florida. He can make it happen anywhere. So when I listen to these people's comments, you got to listen closely and you have to ask questions. Just because the man said he wanted him to go to the island, but he never went to the island, doesn't mean shit. You shouldn't be satisfied with that. You should want to know, but did you meet him? And it's the same comments that Trump, if you notice, Trump has made comments about Bill Clinton going to the island. He always point that out about Bill Clinton, but I didn't go to the island. That's what Trump says, but I didn't go to the island, y'all, as if that means he wasn't a part of this. If that means he wasn't one of the people that had girls sex trafficked to him. Just going to the island is supposed to mean that only. No, it doesn't mean that, because this could have happened in any place that Epstein met you. This could happen on the plane. This could have happened in any other location in New York. This could have happened in hotels, in the casinos in New Jersey. This could have happened in New Mexico. Notice how they talk, So again, if you want to know if something did happen, you will only know if you look deeper. Now, let me see here. What else does it say here? It goes on to say, and these are all direct quotes out of the ledger. House Democrats didn't include documents with scheduling notes from the subsequent days. Okay, so that's worth noting also. So there's other days that they have ledgers that they didn't mention. Okay, that on itself doesn't mean that that what's there is not just as potent or not potent. It doesn't mean anything. It just means they didn't talk about it yet. Now, let's see here. What else? 2019, Musk told Vanity Fair that Epstein tried repeatedly to get me to visit the island. Notice how he keeps talking about the island as if the island is the only place anything ever happened. You should just take note of that. But that he declined. So you see the bullshit in here? So he declines. He didn't go to the island. He doesn't decline anything else. You're not getting him declining anything else, y'all. You're not getting that from him. You see, just to note it. He also said he visited Epstein's Manhattan mansion with his then wife. So, okay. So he visited. So Bill Clinton didn't have a wife. Yeah, Bill Clinton had a wife. Other people had their family members. You see, this is getting interesting. Who was interested in meeting him, and she was writing a novel. Interesting. Okay, so you can't write novels and sleep with little girls. I'm just saying, folks do it. People can do both. They can chew bubblegum and walk. We did not see anything inappropriate. That's also what Ghislaine Maxwell said. She didn't see anything inappropriate, but Elon Musk lied about actually meeting Ghislaine Maxwell before, and Epstein. He lied about that. So you got to keep this. These people cancel themselves out, with their own statements. Actually, even the statements that they've made to the public, and as of late, Ghislaine Maxwell has already canceled some of this shit out herself. Even though she might be lying. But it doesn't even matter whether she's lying or telling the truth. Her statement cancels this stuff out. So between one of them, somebody's lying. You see? Now, Epstein owned a vast property in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and multiple women have alleged that he sexually abused them there. In 2022, Epstein estate agreed to pay $105 million to the government of the U.S. Virgin Islands to settle. So the government of the U.S. Virgin Islands settled a case for $105 million. Damn, that I did not know. Let me see here. And I'm not claiming to be no Epstein expert. So I'm not claiming to be a person that is down the rabbit hole that knows everything. And I don't know if Hillary Clinton drank baby blood on Epstein Island. I'm not one of those people. I doubt that happened. During a dramatic split with President Donald Trump in June, Musk said that the president was to blame for not publicly releasing documents about Epstein. Now, what's clear here that Musk, if you ask me, Musk made this comment because he's afraid of vengeance. At that time, he was afraid of the American people's vengeance because his cars were charging stations were being attacked. People all over Europe were burning his cars and saying, fuck Elon Musk. And because of the political backlash, he started trying to split from Trump. So this statement co-aligns with that timing. Musk said the president was to blame for not publicly releasing. Right. He wanted to separate from Trump. But a lot of people thought that there was going to be a split. But I said myself, no, billionaires are going to protect billionaires. These people are going to protect each other. This split is not going to be permanent. I said that. And now already they're showing it, because the truth is that, listen, and this is my theory. These two gentlemen likely know of each other's criminality, and therefore they will protect each other. It's just that simple. Now, they might have a public spat, but neither one of them is going to turn the other one in because they need each other more than they need you. That's the truth behind this. Now, a lot of American citizens are expendable to Elon Musk and to Donald Trump. Very simple. But they need each other more than they need you to survive at this point. Now, of course, they would like to keep the charade going, but it's not looking too good. Epstein and Trump were friends in 1980s. Until they had, that's early, until they had a falling out in the 2000s before Epstein registered as a sex offender. Trump, who said, all right, so let me just, this is up on the screen. People can read it if they want to. White House spokesperson since Trump booted Epstein. Right, okay. White House spokespeople have since said that Donald Trump booted Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. So we all know this was like the cover-up, part of the cover-up, right? Separation. He don't know too much. Same thing as Elon Musk just did. It's Trump that's in the Epstein files, so he's separating from Trump. Trump said, that's only Epstein, so I separated with him. Yeah, sure, you separated with him. Sure, you did. Okay, according to the new, and even if you did, goddamn, there's a woman in a public deposition on YouTube publicly stating that she had sexual relations, that she was raped essentially as a minor by Trump when she was 13 and 14 years old, 3 to 4 times. So, goddamn, that's a hell of a thing to have someone say about you publicly on YouTube, floating around. You know what I'm saying? Kash Patel, he's not interested in that. Pam Bondi's not interested in that. According to the newly released documents on December 5th, 2004, the day before the entry mentions Musk Epstein had a scheduled breakfast meeting with Gates. Okay. Bill Gates. Okay. Bill Gates invited Ron Barron, Josh Harris, awaiting the entry read. Okay, this is, Okay, Gates and Epstein have had a complicated relationship with the two met multiple times. Okay, Gates and Epstein. Notice this. This is interesting. Why was it complicated? The two met multiple times. Gates has repeatedly said he had made a mistake in judgment. Okay. All right. Well, that's been out there in the news, but that's still interesting. Okay. Also, who else? Ron Barron, Josh Harris. Okay. Emails produced in a lawsuit between the U.S. Virgin Islands and J.P. Morgan, the bank, which later settled, show that Epstein tried to get the tech billionaire to establish a foundation with the bank, with the apparent expectation that he'd receive a fee for brokering the connection. The project never came to fruition. The Wall Street Journal also previously reported that Epstein appeared to threaten to appeared to threaten to reveal an affair that Gates had. Okay. So this is interesting. So if Epstein would threaten to reveal an affair that Gates had, and Epstein died in prison when Trump was the president and was indicted while Trump was the president and died, could it be that he was threatening to reveal information about Trump and that's why he's dead? Well, it apparently looks so because he was publicly talking to the Daily Beast. Who is this guy? The reporter, something Wolf, Michael Wolf, where he's releasing. Look, and these meetings that Michael Wolf was having with him was ongoing when Trump became president. You know, they were ongoing, and Epstein dies. I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd have to bet that Trump had something to do with Epstein's murder, like flat out. If I was a betting man, but just put these things together. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If Epstein would blackmail Bill Gates, why wouldn't he blackmail Donald Trump, for example? If you believe one, why wouldn't you believe the other? You see? Or do you not believe either? You tell me what you think. Okay, so let's see here. Earlier this year, Gates told the Journal that his association with Epstein was foolish. Yeah, oh, wow, you preaching to the choir, buddy, about that one. Now, let me just skip over to the next one. Let's see here. Is this another one? Is this Daily Beast here? Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. No. That's Keg Breath. Damn, is that Keg Breath? Let me see here. What's the last one here? Let's see here. Is there more to this? Okay, so let me close out with this, y'all. There was a serious incident that did occur again. This is not in Texas this time. This is in Michigan. And so my heart goes out to the victims. The United States has far too many of these acts occurring, but this is normal in the United States of America, the country I was born and raised in. This is normal. This has been the story of my life. We have mass shootings. Many other countries, particularly the country I live in today, Denmark, does not have this problem. Okay? And it's important for me to say that as an American citizen living in Denmark, because it would be stupid if I didn't say it. American citizens need to know more about other Western countries that are their allies so that we can learn and share. Now, don't get it wrong. The United States comes and learns things from Denmark and other Western countries all the time. They just don't publicly tell you about it. You may not even be aware of it. Let me give an example. Washington, D.C., the local government travels to Copenhagen all the time. Did you know local governments from different states across the country of the United States travel to other countries, other cities to study how they organize certain things? Did you know that? It's a fact. They do. How widely is it publicized by legacy media? Not widely at all by legacy media. By local newspapers? Yeah, a little more widely. But still, a lot of people are unaware. Local government in Washington, D.C., city council members, mayors for decades have traveled to Copenhagen to check out things like solar panel parking meters, bike lanes, and a lot of other things, how to organize, the online tax systems. Denmark has been a forerunner in a lot of these things, renewable energy, and also digitized tax statements. Denmark has been doing that for a long time. Although you don't hear the federal government talk about it a lot, you don't hear legacy media talk about it a lot. But yeah, they exchange a lot of information on the local levels. And Washington, D.C. has been one of the cities that has implemented some of those things. But it's not the only one. It is not the only one. It's not the only state that does that. But so it's important to share things. Now, Denmark has never had this issue of mass shootings. Why? The average, even if you have the right to have a hunting rifle, that's it. It's very limited. The style of hunting rifle, it is literally one you have to load. It's like one you would use for shooting small game. And no, it cannot adequately be used as an assault weapon. Absolutely not. And Denmark forgoes these type of issues, right? They don't want guns proliferated across the country. That would just be more work for police. Obviously, right? Harder to keep track of. More criminals would get their hands on guns. That would empower criminals, right? So you already have an issue with that. Why make it worse, right? Now, here regarding this issue in the U.S. about mass shootings, in the last 24 hours, this Michigan thing just came up. A gunman attacked a church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township of Michigan. He drove a truck into the building, opened fire, and set the church on fire, killing 4 people and wounding 8 others. The shooter, identified as Thomas Jacob Sanford, a 40-year-old former U.S. Marine, was killed in a shootout with police after. Okay, authorities continue to search the wreckage. Oops, damn. Hold on here. Let me go back. Authorities continue to search the wreckage, and damn, wreckage, because he burnt down the place, and are investigating the motive, possible explosive devices, and whether there are additional victims. Oh, yeah, that's so sad. Let me see here. I think it goes on. Yeah, this is terrible, man. Okay, so the next one was, okay, because I know people want to know this. Is he a Democrat? Is he a Republican? La, la, la. What is known so far, I'm not sure if there's more information put out about this, so you let me know what you heard, and I will check into it. What is known, reported so far, Sanford was a 40-year-old former U.S. Marine and Iraq veteran. Yeah, man, they need more access to mental health. Seriously, they need as much access to mental health services as they have access to the internet. That's what I would say. And a lot of people do. He served from 2004 to 2008 in the Marines, attained the rank of sergeant, and was deployed to Iraq. So he served his country. Thank you for that. He was from Burton, Michigan, and graduated from Goodrich High School in 2003. According to media reports, damn, what does this say? According to media reports, he had a Trump Vance sign and was seen outside his home, which fueled speculation about his political leanings, but that is unverified and does not amount to proof of party membership. True. It doesn't amount to proof of party membership, but it is something that is worth noting, because obviously, if you did have that in your sign in your thing, let's say the sign said Biden and Harris, you would hear Republicans talking about it on Fox News, right? Wouldn't they? If the sign said Biden and Harris, would Fox News be talking about it right now? If you believe Fox News would talk about it, put a 1 in the chat. If you believe they wouldn't, put a 2 in the chat. I just want to see what people see. If you think Fox News would talk about the sign in his yard, if it said Biden and Harris, put a 1 in the chat, because I'm damn sure they would. I mean, so why shouldn't I want to know? I should want to know whose sign he have. I should want to know if it's Biden or Harris or not. It shouldn't even matter what political party. You should want to know what this fucking sign he had in his yard. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. But of course, there's going to be a lot of people with a lot of different answers. So, but 1 or 2 will suffice. If you don't think it matters, put a 2. If you think it matters that he had a sign and people should report on it, including Fox News, put a 1 in the chat. All right, so some sources also note he signed conservative petitions, for example, efforts to repeal Michigan's pandemic emergency powers. Damn, and support for right to life causes. But again, right to life, that's abortion, right? That's anti-abortion, right to life. Okay, but again, these are anecdotal and not confirmed as definitive evidence of party registration. Yes, but again, would Fox News report on it? If it was pro-abortion, would Fox News report on it? If Fox News would report on it, if it is pro-abortion, put a 1 in the chat. That's all I'm saying. It shouldn't matter. We should be clear about this stuff unless we living on 2 different planets. I think Fox News would definitely be reporting on it if he had a Biden-Harris sign in the yard. They would find it important, and it would be more than anecdotal to them. And the fact that if it was a pro-abortion a person who signed a petition for pro-abortion in Michigan, I would think Fox News would also talk about that. So now let's see here. Support for right to life. Okay, registration. Okay, the bottom line. Okay, so they don't know yet if he was registered as a Republican, Democrat, or independent. And there are differences. Independents aren't Democrats, and they're not Republicans. Their views might be scattered. You see what I mean? Across the spectrum. So you don't know. For example, one might be pro-gun and pro-abortion. You see what I mean? Or one might be, just anything. You never know. One might be might be pro-ICE and pro-abortion at the same time, for example, right? So that's how independents tend to roll. And Eric Klein, yeah, we're talking about the Michigan shooter that just happened 24 hours ago. A guy drove his truck into a Seventh-day Adventist. Let me go back. Seventh-day Adventist church, just less than 24 hours ago. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Church in Michigan drove his truck into it. The building opened fire, set the church on fire, killing at least 4 people and wounding 8 others. He was an ex-Marine, and he had the rumors is, or people remember him having a pro-Trump and Vance sign in his yard, and they're saying he signed a petition for damn, can y'all hear me? What is this? Yeah, he signed a petition. Okay. Right. He signed a petition for, what is it? For pro-life, you could say. He signed a pro-life, petition. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Now, again, I just want to say to everybody, my chats are on replay. So anybody that wants to go back and review the chat, you're willing to. I do this for to do some type of anthropology myself, right? So I like to go back and review the chat also from time to time. But I also keep in mind that a certain percentage of people are trolls and are not like maybe American citizens, or might have other motives than your average Republican or Democrat, you would say, right? So I keep that in mind, but that's put into the study myself. So, but I like to go back and review the chat just to see how people feel about certain topics, whether they, and how they measure out, right? So on that note, I'm going to be out. Let me see something. What is it for pro-life? You could say. Yeah, okay. Let me just make sure. Yeah, because I can see that my stream is slowing down now. Now, on that note, I'm out. I appreciate everybody for coming out today, as usual, as always. And please let me know your thoughts once the stream has ended, if you watch the replay. And I really hope Americans can unify Republicans and Democrats. I'm talking about average ones. I'm not relying on rich folk to lead this, to lead the saving of the United States of America. I do believe people should have the right to difference of opinion and also be able to change their minds too. I believe that. I believe a lot of people that used to be MAGA change their minds about this as they get more information. And I believe as Americans, we owe it to ourselves and to our children and also to our ancestors. Those of you that have deep roots in the United States of America, like myself, my family on both sides comes from the colonial period. You see what I mean? Of the United States when it was being made and created, right? So I do have deep roots. I recognize all Americans don't have deep roots in the United States of America, but I do recognize that that doesn't always matter. Some do love the country and some don't. Some are invested in knowing the real history of the country and time, and some don't. Some come to the country and have been there, one generation and feel like they know more than people who have been there, whose families have been there the entire time. Some can come from different backgrounds. Some can be Black. Some can be Asian. You don't have to just be white to support Trump. because we see that there's blacks and Asians who do support Trump, right? I would call those people ignorant, but they have the right still to support Trump. Now, I'm for the right to vote, free and fair elections, unimpeded by the federal government. I'm not for voter suppression. I'm not for the suppression of freedom of speech, and I'm not for the suppression of guns, of gun rights. Not, now I'm for comprehensive gun reform, and I'm for comprehensive immigration reform, but I'm not for violating people's human rights, and I'm not for making enemies out of other Americans that come from other countries on the continent of America. I'm totally against that. I feel like we're stronger when we do the math, right? And I do believe that legacy media is a big problem in educating the American population. And they keep us isolated from our allies that we work with across the globe, particularly Western allies. And I think it's time we deal with that together if we want to continue to have a country. But again, it's your choice what you want to have, and everybody decides how they want to go about it. Now, I'm going about it my way, but then again, I'm free to do that because I don't live in the United States of America. I live in Denmark, so I have my freedom of speech. I have my universal health care. My kids also have universal education. I have universal education. I have my union job, and I live quite a fair and decent life that most Americans would probably want to live. You see what I mean? So on that, I have to give Denmark its due. Would I stand up for this country and fight for this country? Oh, absolutely. I definitely would, for many reasons. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect for everybody all the time, but it's perfect enough for me. And what I have, I can make it better. I don't spend all my time complaining and bitching and moaning. You see what I mean? I actually believe if you contribute to the society, then that's how you can affect change. And if you think change should be affected, if you don't, then just sit back and enjoy it. You see what I mean? So on that note, I'm out. I appreciate y'all. I will be back later on today, and I'm gonna catch everybody from there. Y'all be good. I appreciate it. Oh, soon I'm doing a private stream. So for the people that are members, I'm sorry about that. It's been a little delay, but I've been trying to catch up with time. I had a lot of activities with my kids the last week and work. I had a lot of covering for some sickness due to my colleagues, some of my colleagues, or appointments that had to be changed around. But I'm still scheduling that, so I appreciate y'all for being patient. I'm out, y'all. Release the Epstein files. 1. Peace.